car accident, it might actually cause something. Yep.
Okay, you good?
Okay. Being 7 o'clock, I'd like to open the meeting of the Bellingham Board of Health for January 10th, 2023. Myself in 40 chair. Vice Chair Trish LeClaire is not here tonight. She has a medical issue with a family member. Mike Hennessy, member. Laura Renaud, minutes clerk. Robert Griffin III, tobacco and food agent. Bruce Wilson, health agent. And any other guests. First order of business is a review of tasks from December 20th, 2022. So do we have those in there? Actually, no, it's the minutes, right? It should be minutes.
Yeah, the minutes.
The minutes, okay. Let's review the minutes from December 20th. So we missed that on there, but that's okay. Have we heard back from that lady, Dannery Nunez?
Yeah, she did apply for a permit and we issued it.
Okay, good. Okay. I guess, Rob, you can go into any more vaping stuff when we get to that.
That works for me. It just took me a second to get on the audio here.
Yeah, it's fine. There's quite a bit of I didn't think we talked that much about it, but sometimes we talk a lot.
Yeah, the whole vaping thing was quite confusing. Maybe I made it too confusing than it needed to be. But
Well, no,
Rob can let us know.
Yeah. It's the same thing. We had a good discussion on BP, and you can Bruce, or you can interject something that come into the office recently about that. So on the new business, I guess.
I think what you got looks good, Laura, for the vape
Yeah.
section.
I'm almost finished. It's like, whoa. Okay, I'm good with the minutes. As written.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Second, I'll second, I guess. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, one abstention, I guess, or one no vote. Okay. Let's see, next thing would be 2024 budget. I guess we've received everything with notices that the budgets have to be finalized by February 24th. Is that true, Laura? I think that's what it was. I got an email today on the thing saying the budgets had to be finalized. So when Trish added the amendment stuff, since we can jump into that, I think I mentioned last meeting, we have to go before the FinCom. So will they let you know, Laura? How do we do this? In other words,
Yeah, they'll set a date and a time that we need to go before them.
yeah,
So anything extra we want to ask for, I didn't put anything in for the raise for any of the board members. Tricia had suggested splitting it 3 ways, I think.
yes, right.
But since she's not on, but we will, it's not changing the amount of money, so it's just splitting it 3 ways, so I don't think that will be a problem.
Well, no, she had, I think she said add 1,200 to it. Because we're already splitting it 3 ways. The only difference is, I think the chair gets $50 more. So in other words, if it's 3,000, and I'm not sure the total, then you take 3,000, you divide it by 3, it's 1,000. And then you take, I guess, is it 50 times 12? So I guess it's 1,600 and then 1,400 and 1,400, something like that, or 1,400. It's somehow different. I don't remember how much. I think it's 50.
Okay, well, we'll
Which
get
means is
the-
she wants to up it from the 3, correct me if I'm wrong, but check it out. If it's 3,000, she wants it to be 4,200. And then it would be the same ratioing, but each person would get 400 technically. You know,
Okay, I can put that in and then get
Yeah.
our date and time
Yeah.
to go before, so that would be our only change. I think
Correct.
the only other thing I asked for more was for possibly it was postage. I don't know, you have it in front of you. It wasn't much that I increased.
no, I think it was 500. Let me ask that question since you brought it up. Was that just moving it from like one other category to another? You don't need FinCom approval. Or was
That's
that an
correct.
additional 500? If it's an additional 500, I will need to defend that as well.
Yeah, if it's an additional amount, we do need to, you know, ask permission for that, but I did put that in the budget.
Okay, so if that's the case, you know, just let me know when I have to go, because it looks like I'll have to go because only one member can go. If not, it's a quorum, and then we need to schedule as a meeting. We could do that because it's happened in the past, but I don't have a problem going there, even though Trish brought it up. I'll do it, and just let me know what the 500 is exactly for, so we're not
Okay.
taking it from another category. I thought we were moving it from like one item to another, but if we're adding 500, then that doesn't seem unreasonable.
And mostly everything else was level funded.
Okay, good. I don't see that. I don't see it as a problem, but okay.
Well, I'll get the exact figures before we meet with FinCom.
Okay, now the other thing too is it says on January 10th, the board voted to disperse the annual stipend.
No, we'll just get rid
Okay.
of that because I totally misunderstood. So just
Okay,
Omit.
fine.
omit that.
Okay, good. Okay. And what it'll do is the board will be adding 1,200 to the total and then appropriately splitting it, whatever the chair gets, you know, and then that's it. So everybody will get a raise. You know, I don't think it's gonna affect much how it goes. So anyway, that's, I think, you know, myself personally, I'll say it, you know, the board does a lot of work outside of their normal, let's say, managing the meeting and doing the other part of the stuff. Okay, so we did that. Okay, 2023 permit updates. So where are we on all the permits? I know they're not due till the 31st, but I don't know. I thought, Laura, you had said once, if you send them out on the 15th, do we still give them to the 31st or do we give them 30 days? So if you send them on the 15th of December, they would be due on the 16th. Or is it still 31 January?
I think we gave them till the 15th of January,
Okay, that's what I thought.
mid-January.
Yeah,
So-
it's like every other town board, every other town entity. You're given 30 days from the bill date. So if you send the bills out on the 15th, they get them on the 18th. They have almost 30 days to pay the bill.
So yeah, by next week, we can go through the list and see if anybody is missing, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, good.
So we should have that done by next week.
Okay, so that will take care of that situation. Now, inspection dates, I guess Robbie,
Yeah, Trisha had asked me to put that on the agenda, so I think she wanted to talk about where all the inspections were at. So I'm not sure if there were particular ones she wanted to talk about.
yeah,
So we might have to skip over that unless anybody else had any questions.
no, I think what I'm probably, I'm surmising, but I'll throw something out there. With, you know, with Robbie, with Bruce, not yourself, Laura, but we have inspection dates that stuff needs to be done. I'm not sure how we do the tobacco. I think the food is done on if it's a restaurant that's full, what do you call it, full blown service, it's 4 inspections a year. Then there's 3, then there's 2, and then the 2 also includes now what we call prepackaged, because the state changed from 1 to 2. So the 2 group got bigger. And Rob, I can't remember on the food prep exactly if there's, well, the only thing would be more than 4 is it the supermarkets?
So
that's
when, I was gonna say, when we originally upped them, we moved everything that had anything to do with preparation of food to 4, so 1 a quarter.
Okay,
And
so we
just
moved
anything
everybody
that was
up. Okay, good.
prepackaged
Okay.
is twice a year.
Okay, good. So there is no 1, but the 2s became 3s, the 3s became 4s? Is that how?
Yeah, everything basically got a bump up.
Okay. So if we had true 4s, which, correct me, it's full preparation of everything, are they now 5 times a year?
They are still in the four times a
They're
year
still in the 4, okay,
category.
fine. Okay. And then supermarkets are 4 or 6? Or am I dreaming? 6? Still 4?
I believe that
It's
they are.
4.
I believe that they are also 4. But I
Okay.
could be mistaken.
Okay, so what I think she wanted was, and then I got something for you, Bruce, after in a minute. I think what she wanted was, how do we say that? That everything's laid out, and then, you know, once all the permits are in, I guess doesn't really make much of a difference unless they went out of business. All the inspection schedules would be either started, because we start a lot of them on fiscal year, or is it annual? That's what I'm confused about. Is it all an annual, or is it fiscal? That we start our first round. I think it's annual, right? So in January.
I do my inspections starting annually. So when they get
Okay.
their January permit, I started their Q1 inspections last week.
Perfect. Okay, so that's what she'll want, I believe. And that would be that, you know, Q1, we get a report from you, Rob, as to what happened. How about tobacco now? How do we do that?
We also do those quarterly.
Quarterly. Okay, fine. So starting on January being a round 1 for Q1?
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing for like new businesses, Bruce did what, that new place, Arkia, whatever his name is, I can't say it. Because that's a new opening, Bruce, today, is that?
Yes, I
Okay,
went in
fine.
there, did the pre-opening.
Okay.
They're gonna do a soft opening next Tuesday at 4 o'clock. I know Mike was
Okay.
interested in that. Mike, you've got an open invitation, so.
Okay,
guys-
so what I'm saying is,
Yep.
so with that one there, that will now go to you, Rob, and what'll happen with that is you'll still do your first quarter because it runs from January to March.
Yes.
correct?
So they will still
Okay.
get a first quarter inspection because they get
Perfect.
a
Okay,
full inspection after the pre-opening.
perfect. Okay, so, you know, let us know on that. And then Bruce, with the supermarkets, I guess, you know, they're starting
quarterly.
the same way.
Yep.
4 times a year.
Yep.
So you'll have Q1 for either next meeting or, yeah, because next meeting is after the, what's the meeting date? 24th. Yeah, so it's after the 15th. By 16th, everybody should be permitted. And if not, we'll have to revert back to what we said on how we're gonna handle that. You know, they're either closed down till they pave the permit, or we do something different. I guess the other quick thing is, I'm getting bombarded, Bruce, by a few things on my phone. People can't log in. Is that because this is an unscheduled Zoom? They said they can't find the meeting.
No, it is a scheduled Zoom. It should be on the agenda on the website.
Should it? Okay, because when you sent the agenda to me, I don't think it was on there. Okay, I'm gonna send these 3 people back. Hang on, give me a second, because I think it's important when the public wants something. And I'm not sure what they want, but they want to attend. So Laura, go to the what town website? And then go Board of Health. Is that how they do it?
There should be a tab with Zoom meetings on it somewhere.
Okay,
If they go to the Bellingham-
okay, or Zoom meetings.
If they go to the Bellingham website, there's a tab that says virtual public meetings.
Okay.
If they scroll down a little bit, the link is there for our
Okay.
meeting tonight.
I don't know if they're like me, older, or if they're in tune with, how do I say it, going to websites, but hopefully they are. Okay. So it's called virtual what, Rob?
It
Virtual-
should pop up as virtual public meetings. I think it's at like the bottom right hand. It's one of the bottom right hand options when
Okay.
you first load the page.
Okay. Got it. Okay, hopefully that works. Anyway, sorry about that, but I didn't want my phone going off, so I brought one here and I silenced one, so I'm getting a few comments. So anyway, back to the agenda. So, okay, so inspection dates should all fall into tune. Some you've already started, the others that we haven't started, well, they should have all been started, right? Okay. I'm gonna want to change something on schools, but I don't know if we wait till the next meeting. We could do that, right? Bruce, I'm wanting to change the schools right now. Let me ask this. When are the dates for the schools inspected? September and May?
We
Or
have
is it
four
June?
inspections.
Oh,
quarterly.
4. Okay, good. So it is 4, because I
Yep.
thought we were doing only 2. It's
Nope,
4.
it's
Okay,
4.
fine. That's fine.
4 inspections.
Okay, good. Okay, that's fine. Great. And the other thing is we should have that lady on site when food's being prepped, because she is the serve safe, right? So she has to
Right,
be,
they have other people too that she's gonna.
if
get.
they have other trained people, that's fine. But if they don't, you can't have a food
Right.
inspection without a serve safe person there.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay, correct. Okay, good. Schedule employee reviews. I think next time we will review, we'll do an executive session at 6 o'clock on the 24th. We'll do Bruce, Laura, and Rob. You get 2 categories. You have 2 hats, tobacco and food. So what I'd like to do for these, I think everybody has a job description. You know, the way I was trained, everything's a critical value, but I was just looking at a few things here. Some of them, I don't know, we should probably review it as a bullet, call it a bullet, or we call a performance point, because some of them I don't think make sense. And I don't think we should have something on there that's not making sense. So, and at that point, if each one of yous puts down, take your job description, puts down like what I've done under each category. And if it's not spelled out for Rob or for Laura, I think it should be. Try to use something that's generic for an administrative agent. Rob, you use something that's generic. You know, if we don't have an actual, I think we do have written for you too, right? Or not?
I have a contract, but it doesn't really have like
Okay.
a broken down description.
Okay, well,
But
okay.
I
Maybe
do
you
have
can go
something
to
that I
like
can-
Mass Association of Tobacco Inspectors, Mass Association of Food Inspectors and just simply, put down the bullets, sort of something you do on your checklist, you know, and especially the ones that are the most critical, where if somebody hasn't done something, and even if it's not a critical violation, it would be something that like could happen. You're only in there 4 times a year. And what I sort of get upset with a particular store, and I'll say it, Market Basket, is that, they're violating the federal food code. And, I got to keep calling you guys, but, and maybe I should be calling you, Bruce, but I've called Robbie a few times saying, someone's got to go in there and talk to him. I talk to a different manager, seems like every 6 months in that store. I'm not saying they're not a good store. I'm just saying sometimes the help is not listening to, let's say, the store manager until I come in and flash a badge. And I said, that shouldn't be the only time they're doing it. They should use common sense, and they should use the thought that you could make someone ill. I don't want to say you could do something more severe, or at the least with today's economy and today's inflation, if you buy a product for $6 and it's supposed to last to that expiration date. Some brands and some stores, other than Market Basket, it goes 2 weeks beyond the expiration. The Market Basket product dies 2 weeks before the expiration. And I'll take it back and I'll get a new one, except during the pandemic. They were trying to tell me it was illegal to give me a new one. Luckily I just, didn't go off the wall, because if I pay for something and it's out of warranty, defective, I get a new one, but anyway, that said, I kind of, I don't know. I think maybe when we go into inspections, we have to tell them, listen, we can't keep running down here and having it a problem, because there are other people, that are residents and consumers that I know in this town. And I don't want them to start calling the Board of Health. So it's 10 calls a day about a particular thing, because everybody shops at a different time and everybody's a different person. But if that's the way we have to do, is sort of like, to get compliance, we have to either inspect them, and then when it's out of temperature or it's borderline, we have to make them throw it away. I'm just saying some of these things are driving me crazy, and the inspectors need to catch this. Okay, so I'm done with that. So anyway, let's do that for the next meeting, and then each board member. I don't know if you have it, Mike, but Laura, remember we had that. It's either Beth's review performance thing, or it's the old one I had that we used when, Guy Fluette was on the board and a few other members.
Yeah, I have a blank one that I can send everybody.
Yeah, do that. And what we'll do is we can, I can also say, like, obviously, I think every member will have to categorize in all these bullets, because like Bruce has quite a few. What's the most important ones, and those have to be met. And the others, they're kind of peripheral. They're important if you're, if they're, let's say, subcategories and you're missing them all, well, that'd be a problem. But anyway, let's not get into that, and let's just say everybody does that. So the managers do it and the employees do it, and then we have our thing. So what I'm hoping is 15 minutes each. We complete everything by 6:45. If we need to, we would have an additional 15 minutes, and then we can open the executive and then close the executive, and then we can go right into our meeting. So weather permitting and everybody's health permitting, I guess we'll be at the town center for that. So, because I don't know if I don't know how we do this. Can we do a Zoom executive? I guess we could, right? That, Bruce, on Zoom? Can you do that?
Yeah, we could probably do something like that.
Okay, okay. So we'll hope for no snow. Rain's not going to keep us away. No snow, no ice, let's say, and everybody's healthy, because we sort of have to have everybody there. And hopefully Tricia's family members, okay. Okay, next item was 740 Pulaski Boulevard condemnation slash what you called it, Mike, sheriff order. Well, it was a constable order. And it did happen, but not exactly when it was supposed to happen. And I'm not exactly sure now because I can't remember back, but the meeting was on the 20th. It was not a like, well, hey, if you feel like doing this, it was an order from the board to get this thing done. And it, you know, time went on, people were on vacation, people got sick, but whatever happened, the other person has to pick it up. So on the 4th of January, or maybe the 3rd, I think it was the 4th, I came in and said to Laura, where's my camera? And where is that notice to this person? Because every day it's sitting the way it is, and it's still sitting that way, is a chance for contamination to get into a wetland, if it's not already in there, and to get into groundwater, which is going to end up polluting the lower part of Pulaski, which feeds into the Rentham well. And all we need is oil or solvents getting into that well system. Chlorine will not pull it out. We'll end up destroying a Bellingham well. And just for giggles, Laura, can you have the DPW let me know if that business is within a zone 1 of the Rentham well? If it's in a zone well, 1 zone, which I can't remember if it's 1,000 or 3,000 or 10,000 feet. I need to know, or a quarter mile or half mile. I need to know if it's within a zone 1 of the Rentham well. If not,
Vinny, typically zone 1s are 500 feet.
okay. Either way, I need to know what zone it's in, and that's gonna have me or you, Bruce, escalate this to, you know, we can't keep waiting. Anyway, what happened was the letter was received by his son. It was signed for the day after. He called me Friday. So whatever. He called me on Friday. I talked to him. And because it was Friday, like after the office was closed, I was going to have him talk to me and then I was going to shift it over to you, Bruce, but it was 3 o'clock. So we made an appointment instead of Saturday morning for Monday morning or Monday after, sometime Monday. And I told him, call my cell and I'll meet you out there. And then I told him that, whatever, we would do that, that there was another thing. It was, Tim had gone by there to do a building inspection and he noticed a vehicle there. So he stopped in and the person, Ray or Russ, whatever it was, said he was going to be doing a cleanup for Mr. Hollander. And he said, you can't do that until you talk to Vincent Forty. And then he called me again and I said, hey, I was going to, when you were supposed to call me, I was going to give you a list of 3 names, but I only have one in my mind. And the other one is also in Franklin where you live. So you can look them up. The third one, I couldn't remember who it was, but they're all waste site trained and they're all businesses that do 21E remediations and other hazmat remediations. Because I still believe, I was down there today, there's solvent on that site. Anyway, I'll update you in that in a second. But what ended up happening is nothing happened. I called Green Site Services, the president, and he said he's never received anything. And he's worked in Bellingham and he said to me, Benny, I will do it as cheap as I possibly can. You know, because I don't know if he lives in Bellingham, he used to, but let's say family lives in Bellingham. And that said, he's concerned about stuff that could get in the groundwater like any other person. But he is trained, I'm trained, and I could do something if it was like, you know, I had that license to do it, but I can't now because of the situation where it's uncovered by the Board of Health. I can't go out there and do that. And I don't want to do it. I don't have a team and you need more than one person digging out there. That said, I went down there today because I was in South Bellingham doing something else. And there was a guy there today He's covering the roof, but to do that, Bruce, he moved all the tires, all the drums. Some of the drums are gone, so I don't know where they are. But I moved some of the drums around that are bulging. There's 2 of them bulging up. They have liquid in them. I couldn't read them because the labels are washed off. But I theoretically say it's probably not oil, could be spiked oil, or it could be a solvent. And what happens is during the summertime, these drums, they're not ruptured, but they expanded. So what we call, instead of an explosion, it's just a expanding volume distension of the drum. But I told him, I says, he says, well, I'm not doing any of the cleanup. He says, but the homeowner, the landowner said he's hiring somebody to do all this stuff. I said, well, he's got to get back to us. I need to know who they are. I also told him they need insurance, because if they make a mistake, the DEP will come after you. And I said, you want to make sure they're licensed. And if they're not licensed, that they can, how do I say it? They can show certificates that they have hazmat training. And then they can go on state website and sort of maybe register as a one-time contractor. I don't know if the state will allow it, but there are forms that they have to fill out. But one critical thing is anybody that does this needs an LSP. If you don't hire one, you have to go to the state's website. If you don't have one in your company on contract, you have to go to state website and pull up an LSP. I said before anybody, and I told him this, digs in the ground, you got to have an LSP, because he or she's going to come out and say, nope, it's too deep. It's now, I have to report it, and you're still going to clean it up, but there is more forms and there's sample testing every inch as you go down below a certain level, because now it's way more than 10 gallons. And that's the other thing too. I made a mistake back in assessing it, thought it was 100 gallons. That's for virgin oil. It is 10 gallons. So I told him, unless we get some action on this, we're going to turn it over to DEP. So I don't know, maybe he didn't hear me. The other thing, I was out there today, there are 3 275 or 300 gallon drums. They're not oil tanks, I believe. They look like, it says waste oil drums. They have bungs on them, and they got big flat things. So you can pick them up with a forklift. But one of them's open. The other 2 have elbows, so they're vented, but they're not open to the rain. They still get moisture in when temperature changes, and barometric pressure dumps water in there. So he said, this guy said, well, he's having someone come pump them out. I said, oh, no. I need to know where that goes. And the guy's taking them to build, what do we call it? Outdoor barbecues. I said, well, I don't know about that. I said, I need an opinion from you, Mike, and you, Bruce. I don't think we should let this happen. I mean, Tricia's not here. I think if we allow this to go with that, where someone's coming up to pick up the items for a different use, plus I worry who's pumping it out, where is it going?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Vinny.
Yeah, so
There's a tank removal process or a company, so it does.
there is, yeah.
Yeah.
If you do remove them, and like I said, Green Site Services can do it. The other ones, it begins with like Narinki or Narding, whatever it's Nardoni. They're also a hazmat company in Forge Park, in Franklin. And then the other one I think is in Rentham. But anyway, he says he did say he knows Matt Clark. So I said, good, why don't you use Matt? Why don't you talk to him and meet me out there? But that never happened. So I've called him 3 times on the day he was supposed to meet me, twice today, and it goes to voicemail. Now, I didn't let it ring off the wall like I normally do. But I let it ring and ring and ring. So I guess I don't know. Well, I guess we could do this here. Mike, do you want to make a recommendation that we're going to move this along to let's say a higher level authority, and
Yeah, no, yeah, I'll make a motion to move this up to the DEP.
Yeah, okay. I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So Bruce, I'll call, or Laura, I'll call in the morning.
Vinny,
and-
where we're going to that level, need to bring Chris in on that as well. from the fire department?
I don't know. None of
If you
it is,
report, if you're reporting a spill, you gotta bring him in too.
yes, yeah, okay, yeah, I guess that's probably true. Why don't you contact him and, find out, if he needs, I know the process, like if it's a reportable quantity from the
It- it-
aspects of a,
It's hard to tell, because you're looking at the staining on the ground, you don't know how deep.
well,
it
no,
goes.
no, what I'm saying
Yeah.
is for diesel or home heating, he would get involved if it's on a public way or a private way. If it was discharged, because it's a reportable quantity, and it can be, if a fire occurred, it can combust and then turn into, a bigger fire. Whereas this is more toxic and there's practically no chance. I think you can put a propane torch to that asphalt, and before the oil burns, the tar will burn. So I don't think it's in any way even remotely, let's say, flammable or fire related on a
Did
triangle.
he say whether he was using those structures to hold and contain, used oil?
No,
so
I
it
didn't
could
see
burn
him.
in the furnace?
What happened was, I didn't see this. When
Okay,
someone cleared all the vegetation, that lot looks like, what do you call it? A tree company came in, got all the bushes out. Even in the wetland, they cleaned up the shrubs so that I can see a complete engine, a 6-cylinder engine sitting right in the wetland. And someone also put survey stakes out there. There's orange stakes throughout the whole wetland. Now, orange does not denote wetlands. It's a wooden stake painted orange. I would say to you, Bruce, looks like a
Could be a
survey
con-
stake.
it could be a control point. Rather
Okay.
than a property, it could just be a control point that they use for,
Yeah, but if that was the case, he would have called me and said, listen, I got somebody out here and this is where they're gonna do a boring. Personally, if they're gonna do that, they need to file a notice of intent. If you're drilling in a wetland, even for geotech for spills, they have to get a wetland permit, and, I did tell Ann about it, but I told her we were gonna handle it because I thought we would have more authority. She can handle it from the wetland division. We can handle it from the Bureau of Resource Protection. And I guess as of the vote, that's the way we're going. I mean,
well, if you bring DEP in there, they may regulate that.
yeah. Okay. If you want, you can call Chris and see if he wants to,
Yeah, no, you just gotta keep them in the loop.
yeah, keep him in the loop. But the notification is gonna come from the Board of Health because we're the one that discovered it on a water meter leak and, and everything else that was sitting out there, and I don't know what's happening with Mike's Labs Automotive, which that guy Mike is an auto body guy, but there is still a sizable odor today from that garage. And that was the other thing. I did tell Eric, I need to go in there. I need to see if you have solvents in there. Those could become, that would be a fire department issue if there's any solvent in there. So I don't think I told you this, but he told me that they were burning all the oil in the waste oil burner, which is
Yeah, that's what I
legal.
thought. Yeah,
But the burner's gone. He took the burner out of the building. So, I really don't care about that because, the burner's probably got nothing in it, but it's his property. So he's going to deal with that. But there's way too much. If you burn something in the summertime, remember, this started in June? We issued an order to condemn after 21 days in July. So now it's 7 months later. And I don't think we're any further than we were. Well, we are a little bit further. We got in contact with them, but we have nothing's happened to clean that site up in 7 months, Anyway, so the guy that was there today is gonna cover the building. So he really doesn't need a permit to put a top wall over it, but he has to try to get up there. And I said to him, be careful, you could fall through
the
that
neighbor
structure.
did call and said there were people working on the roof.
Well, he said he's just putting a top up there. I saw one ladder and a big giant, the heavyweight top stretched out over the whole backyard. So that whole area where it was all vegetation, the metal's all in one corner. There were axles and frames. That's all stacked up. And I said to that guy, I said, if you see him, tell him he can get money for this. Just put it in a truck and haul it to Walpole, get rid of it. That he doesn't need a permit for. He just got to get rid of all that debris. I believe they clean the wetland of paper and some plastic. So that's a good thing. Just as now that instead of, I think the frames that we saw, Bruce, are gone, but there's still an engine sitting right close to the edge of the dumpster and the wetland. Well, it's all wetland, even where the pavement is, but because it's paved, you can't see it. So we're well within 25 feet, but he said that would be gone either tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, you probably
Guys
need
come
a
pick it
little
up.
machine to pick that up because it's too heavy.
Yeah, well, the guy's coming with, what do you call those?
Skid steer?
No, it's
grapple?
more the trucks are used to tow a car, the winch.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's gonna pick it up and put it on the bed of the thing. So it's intact. I
He's
didn't
got a
see
flat-
any,
He's got a flatbed with a winch.
yeah. So he's gonna pick it up and do that. So I don't care about that, but okay. So Bruce, contact Chris, give me a call. And I think, you can look up the DEP, Bureau of Resource Protection. It used to be Bob O'Connor. I don't know. I saw a couple of months ago, we got a letter from, there was a spill and the site was cleaned up. It could have been by Green Services, and the LSP signed off, and then the DEP section chief for Bureau. It's a funny name, begins with Z, but Mike Zadinsky, whatever it was, he's the bureau chief. So he'll probably see the report after one of his investigators comes out and, observes it. I have a feeling it's not going to go well, but hey, we did more than we were required to do. And 7 months later, nothing's happened. So anyway, okay, moving on.
So
Tobacco agent. yeah,
who's
go ahead,
gonna
bro.
contact the DEP?
Well, once Bruce contacts Chris and calls me and lets me know, I'm gonna
Okay,
have Bruce contact them.
okay,
I mean, it's sort of an administrative duty, but we'll let Bruce do that, because, it's probably, I would say a health agent's duty, whatever. And, they can loop me into it as the person who basically, was covering for Purdue. So I would have been the health agent at that time the water was discovered, and then all the oil when it was still the other guy there. But I didn't see how bad it was until, all the skids, the drum and everything else was moved. And then somebody must have moved the dumpster a little, because there's clearly, even today, stained soil. It's not wet, it's oil. So I guess oil filters, don't ask me what an auto body does, but they might have been doing automotive repair and throwing everything in the dumpster. And everybody knows a dumpster not supposed to contain that. And if you drain them out and put them in a bag, it would be better. You could probably say you could do that. But dumpsters are vented on the bottom so they don't hold water, because they don't want to pick up that sewage water, has all the paper and all the food stuff in there, goes to the bottom and produces a creamy mix. Anyway, okay. Rob, you're on for the tobacco regulation. We have to sign. How are we doing that? Is that in our thing?
It is not in, so
Okay.
I had
So-
put it together, so I could bring it in.
Okay.
But obviously with us getting moved over to Zoom.
Okay.
So
Can you bring in
council-
the office and we sign it? At least two of us have to sign it, right? Or should all three of us sign that?
I was gonna say, I know that part of it was what Trisha had suggested about the vapes, so I didn't know if you wanted to hold off until she was at the next meeting.
Okay, okay, we can
or-
do that.
or
It's
whatever-
not a critical
whatever you
thing, right?
prefer.
We have nobody waiting that says, oh, because we're not signing it and we're not approving it. We already approved it, right? Or not?
It's basically already approved. It was just a question of how we were gonna regulate the
Okay.
CBD relief center.
Okay,
So
let's do it till next meeting. Okay, Laura, why don't we move that tobacco regulation vaping to be signed on the 24th after Tricia has a chance to look at it? Okay.
okay, will do.
Okay, vaping permits and fees status. That's you, Rob, right? Or is that you, Laura?
Yes.
Which one? Okay. How are we doing
So
this?
those go hand in hand. So what the new regulation states is basically what Tricia had laid out, that
Okay, good.
there will be 3 non-nicotine permits available that follow the same state tobacco regulations in regards to
Okay,
the items being unable to be flavored, and obviously have to follow the same purity contents and,
Right,
and
right.
standards. I did reach out to Jason over at Permitize, and he did say that we can put in both permit types. I did write up just kind of a quick questionnaire that he can put into the system, so when people
Okay.
apply, they can fill that out. But
Okay.
I just have to wait for the approval to send it in.
Okay, so that will go to the 24th as well. One quick question.
Yeah.
Do we have like 3 people already waiting to grab these at this point?
We only have 1 at this point.
Okay, okay, so it's good.
But
So 3 is a good number. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we didn't, what's gonna happen. Well, you guys gave it to 3. It would be first come, first serve, right? And we can prove that whoever, if there were 3 and we gave them out, that those people were 1, 2, and 3. That's fine. There's only 1.
to be
so-
honest with you,
Okay,
I think we put the limit of 3, but I don't think we're even going to get 2. It was
Okay.
kind of a unique circumstance that we even needed 1. Most of the places that would be selling the non-nicotine vapes are also going to have a nicotine vape license, because they kind of go hand in hand. It's just
Fine.
that one store that doesn't.
okay. The last question I have is, do they still pay, well, they still have an inspection process? In other words, they still follow guidelines if it's non-nicotine? Can it be any age, or is it 21 as well?
Still
Vaping.
21.
Okay, fine, good.
Still 21. CBD itself is regulated at 21. So
Okay, good, good. Okay,
both
good.
products would be 21, and it still follows the same regulation that it can't be flavored, and obviously it can't exceed certain restrictions to 0.03% in this case.
Okay, so if they have a violation, the same procedure, how we do tobacco and other stuff? Same procedure?
So unfortunately, it's kind of a split mix. So if it's a violation of something state specific, then it would fall under the new tobacco regulation. But if it's something in violation of the CBD content, so if it's too strong or too potent of a mixture, then
Yeah,
it falls under the local fines.
okay, wow. Okay, but let's say sale of minors, it'll be the same as the state and the town regulation, which
Yep,
is
sale of a
21.
minor, it just
And if
gets
you have your first
processed as a-
offense, you can reflect, I don't remember how it goes, but you get 1 offense, you get this penalty, 2 offense, you have this penalty, 3rd one, you get 30 days and what is it, $5,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah, so because it would be a sale of an ends product to a minor, regardless of what the product it contains,
Okay,
it falls under the new state tobacco law, where it would be $1,000 for a first offense, $2,000 for a second, and $5,000 for a third.
okay, fine. Okay. I guess I'm sort of happy with that, I guess. Whatever, okay. Food inspector updates. We don't have anything there, Rob, so we'll save that for next time, or do you have anything?
Nothing major has come up. The ones that I've done so far have been fairly good. A couple little temperature things here and there, but nothing.
But no criticals, approaching 2 or 3, no.
No, nothing.
Good.
Nothing major.
So we've gone from when we were really pretty perfect, and then the pandemic came and everything hit the fan, and then we're getting back to normal. It only took us 2 years. That's great.
I think it's a combination of some of the help being more consistent, but also the temperature outside helping them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We get a majority of our criticals in regards to temperature when the refrigerators get taxed a little bit more. So generally the winter.
yeah,
months
that's
are
true. Yeah, it's winter, so you almost get, although it's pretty warm out there. So I know when I'm running, anyway, okay. So we have our meeting schedule for 2023. So I guess that's the way we'll do it. And if you look at the schedule, when it comes to summertime, we can decide to go to one meeting or not, depending on the agenda and what's on the agenda. Okay, so looks good to me. Looks like a schedule. So that'll be posted on the website so everybody knows in advance. Is that true, Laura? Everything will get posted, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And then if we have to change it, we'll note that
Right,
at that
right.
time.
Okay, and if we make a change, as long as we post a change 48 hours, it's okay, or on?
Yep, that's
Yeah,
correct.
okay, good, okay. So, then we have next is the 2023 goals. So I don't know, I flipped, I got the way you like it. You got timeline, goals, and draft. Okay, so, tonight, do we have, I did submit the annual report to all you members, and, I made a few changes because during the pandemic, we didn't have, Earth Day. I think that's a very big thing. It's the one time where most of the town slate is wiped clean of debris on the roads and yards and everything else abutting the roads. And also, I think even if they don't come with us, other people use it as a way of either getting a T-shirt or a mention that they helped clean Bellingham too, their town they live in. So I put that back in as a draft item because we did do it in 2021. So, you know, the 2022 will have that in the annual report. So I think 2020 we didn't do it, or vice versa. One of the years we didn't, but the other year we did do it. Last year we did it. So anyway, so it's in there, but it wasn't in the report that I saw. That's fine. Let's see. I don't know if there's anything else I can hone in on goals. I guess so. Okay, unless you have something, Mike, I really, I think what we do is we'll have goals like, we're at a standstill with outdoor or, semi-outdoor, oil storage tanks for home heating fuel, which is technically an accident waiting to happen, but whatever. We may be able to, if we look at the website for Bureau of Resource Protection, maybe there's some kind of grant from the DEP, but I doubt it. It would be through the state because the state has to fund the DEP. So I don't think underground storage tank, are anywhere homeowner driven. If they're gas stations or other type of stations have underground tanks, they are double lined, encased in a concrete pit with monitoring and crushed stone, and they're inspected by petroleum engineering on a regular basis, according to state law. So we don't have to worry about them. I'm just trying to help out the people who have 275 gallons of oil in their cellar, which is, if it ruptures out and goes outside in the environment, it's $200,000 to clean it up. So plus or minus. So anyway, okay, I'm done with that. Next thing is employee calendar 2023. So other than sick days, if everybody can let us know, when you're taking vacation, that would help. And it should be, if you're taking vacation like in March and it's the second meeting time, just let us know in the first one that the board should approve it, and we'll go from there. Okay? Okay, so let's see. 2022 annual report. Okay, so Mike, Tricia's not here. And I even sent the draft copy to you, Laura. I hadn't heard anything back, so I don't know if I said to you, Laura. If I haven't, tonight will be the night I say, let's put it together, put in all the numbers for the septic loan, septic systems, and sum it up. And I don't know when it's due. Someone said it's due. It can't be due by the 1st, right?
You guys should have the formal one there with all the numbers. I didn't know if anybody wanted to change anything, but the original one is in the bin at Town Hall. So if you
Okay.
want to make a motion to accept it as is, that's up to you guys. And
Perfect.
you can
Okay,
come in
Mike,
and
you have any,
sign it.
you want to do that? I feel okay with that. As long
Yeah,
as the numbers are in there, that's fine.
Motion to accept.
Okay.
Accept.
I'll accept it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay. So that's it. So Laura, it's in the bin. It's out of our hands. We're all set for the annual report. Okay. Goals. Oh, yeah, that's it. I knew we had them there. So food grading system, Rob, you're on. Anything new on that?
I think that's basically tabled at this point until we can
Okay,
figure
we'll
out
table it, okay.
a couple things with permit eyes. I'm going back and forth with them to make a couple changes in the system. Implement a numerical grade like the
Okay.
previous software had.
Right.
So we can't do anything until they potentially do that. As of right now, they don't have a way to do it.
Interesting. They can't just add a sheet, like a subcategory like they do for a permit for a building or for health department. If we have different categories, like on there for, someone comes in, renews their permit, at time to time, we might have added things into that permit that weren't there day one, day, who knows?
The way that their inspection system presently works, it preloads the FDA checklist,
Okay,
but it doesn't give us a way to enter in the checklist how many of each violation there were. So if I walk in and there's 4, temperature violations, it
right.
only marks off that there was a temperature violation. It doesn't let me mark off that there was 4.
Wow. So that's a good thing for a person. Now, if there's 4, then you have to weigh it, whether it's critical or just, like you call borderline, it's too close to call. You'll tell them it needs to come into the, as I say to people, when you have a range, that it doesn't mean you're out of compliance if you're literally on the lowest end, which is 38, and then 41 or 41 and a half, the highest end. But if you're on that end, you can go either high or low. Low, I don't think we care about, except maybe if it got frozen, which I don't think that's going to happen. 38 degrees, some food would spoil if it was frozen and thawed. But in any event, I don't worry about the low one. I'd like to see people staying middle to low and not going from middle to the outer limits of the high end, because that's where problems occur, And the fact that it only does okay, let's give you another one. If there's food stored that's raw above prepared food, like it's supposed to be stored above that. If it's just a meat, do we say, oh, it's one violation, raw food above prepared food, like salad, something else?
It would depend on how many items are there. So if it is above, more than one item, then it's a separate violation for each
Oh,
item.
okay,
It's above.
it does record that though.
It does
Oh,
not.
it does not.
We have to make a separate note in the
Okay,
system.
see, that's okay. Well,
But that's where we're having the difficulty with is
Right,
because
right.
it only says whether or not it was in compliance. So
right.
it doesn't give us the opportunity to put how many of each violation there
okay.
are.
So when you give them this form that's on the computer and there are 3 criticals and it marks 1, and there's 3 food above prepared food and it marks 1, you add into that. How do you do that? You add it in. So the owner and the Board of Health get a copy stating that there were 3, not 1. Is that how you're doing it or not?
Yes. So if there's
Okay,
multiple
fine.
violations, it goes into the note section of the report.
Notes, okay, fine, fine.
And then that report goes into our system, which is also shared with the owner.
Good. So I don't want them to think like, oh, geez, I only had 1. Okay, good. They get notified by reading the notes. And I assume they're all trained enough to read the notes and say, I got to fix this, because 1 is a lot less. Well, it's not less of a hazard, but it's less of a violation than 3 of the same thing. It's like, geez. Anyway, okay. DPH intern search. Laura and Bruce. So I think I asked you this, Laura, a couple of days ago. The application period, we complied. It's in the DPH. I think you told me, correct me if I'm wrong, likely in September we'll get a notice that we're getting one or we're not getting one, or they don't have enough
No,
people going around. I don't know.
It should be within the next couple of months that we just put the application in and we were
Okay.
kind of one of the first ones. So I'll
Good,
just keep
good.
checking back with them and see where we're at.
Yeah. I like first. Okay, good. That's good. Because like I said, if you're asking for money or if you're asking for a person that's gonna extend our staff that has a, I don't really have it. I have a little bit of, how do I say, knowledge, but not expertise. You and Bruce don't have, and even Trish is not an epidemiologist. And Mike, I assume you want to rein in and say, I know a lot about epidemiology, but not at the level that I could bucket to a town, where, you don't have just soldiers of a certain age, certain fitness. Everything medically is monitored constantly. The public that may go to the doctor, may not go to the doctor. When they go to the doctor and they find out they have a life-threatening disease or, whatever, then, we get the stat on it. They may get on Maven if they're, let's say, incapacitated, or it's a communicable disease. But if it's not communicable, it's cancer, that gets into the system. But, someone at DPH looks at that, but the state epidemiologist has more than 16, 17,000 Bellingham residents that could have it, or let's say 500 have it in Bellingham, but they have millions of people, I guess, in the state of Massachusetts, of which a percentage are going to fall into the category where epidemiologist looks at it. If it's communicable, it probably gets into Maven, and then not only an epidemiologist, but local level medical staff at hospitals or nursing would try to characterize it and follow it out. That's not what we're looking at. We're looking at basically, as I'm going to say, if you look at the state epidemiological report, which I believe we get September and maybe one other time a year, they report the leading causes of death in our town, and then our county. I don't know if they do region. I think they go by county, and then they go by state. So you can compare Bellingham against 25 other towns in Norfolk County, and then against 351 towns and cities in the state of Massachusetts. I really don't care how I compare. I only care about where I live. I'm going to be selfish and say, I only care about where I live. And if I can get someone to help with this, I consider it a great asset to the Board of Health, and to the community I live in and we all live in. So anyway, enough on that. Thanks, Laura. Let me know when that comes in. And then let's see. So health agent updates. Whatever. Yeah, Bruce, what do you have for health agent updates? You're muted, Bruce.
I keep coughing and try to keep it so you guys don't have to listen to it. Basically, the latest and greatest would be the pre-opening of the Irish food restaurant that's going into where the Rock and Coal is.
Okay.
Other than that, it's a constant battle chasing down all of our bins there to keep them serviced. Because
I wanted you to bring that up because
it seems that everybody's emptying out their closets and garages at this point.
Right. I went by there today. There is nothing there today. I went by twice actually, but probably 1 o'clock or maybe 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Either way, nothing there today, which is good because what was it? Sunday, the stuff grew and they hadn't picked up Saturday. Obviously, I picked up Friday because I don't know if they did or didn't, but let's say they picked up Friday. I'm giving them that. They didn't pick up Saturday. It was pretty bad. I believe he threw that away. I'm not 100% sure, but there were 2 other people who live up there that are now, they give me, how do I say it? The liberty of not having to drive by there. So it saved my gas and my time. And they're reporting to me. And I went up there on Saturday afternoon late, probably around 5 o'clock. And I said, before tomorrow, and when you close your business, all those bags, you got to throw them in your dumpster. And he said he would. And then he asked about our camera. And I said, well, we did get a whole bunch of violators and they were sent fines and none of them paid it. And I said, we didn't pursue it in court. I said, that may change. He said, well, I was going to get a camera. I said, you can do it. I said, but you're going to have to forward the information like we do to the police department. They have to put a detective on it instead of a dispatch person to run the number. And, I'd say dispatch time would probably be a better use and time of that, but I don't know how busy they are. So let me not get into their affairs. It's none of my business. But we didn't get anybody. So, did it go on social media? Yeah, well, actually, that's another thing, Bruce. Remind me to bring up our signs in a minute. I'll give that as my update on health agent stuff. So anyway, so Monday they did not pick up, and I called the Greg number. No one picked up. While I was standing there, I had Mr. Patel call the number it was like 4 o'clock. It wasn't dark yet. It's like 4 o'clock. And the number went, he put it on the phone on speaker, and it just went right to a thing. I said, so leave him a message. So he left him a message. And then I kind of think I reined in and said, you need to come out here tomorrow. I said, I'm telling you, this is the Board of Health. You need to come out and do that. I said, so whatever. It probably, I don't know if it went through, but whatever. That said, Monday, they didn't pick up at all. I had you go call them or whatever. Nobody came out Monday all day. I was fuming because I went by there late at night. It was dark and there was a lot of bags out there. And then during the day, Monday at 10